Hello and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about Call of Duty 3. This is the oh good. This is I didn't want to play online anyway. This is the Xbox 360 version of the game, but it's on my Xbox Series X. This is how I played it. Basically, the thing is, a couple things up front here. One of the big things is that I already reviewed Call of Duty 2. That kind of use that as more of like an introduction thing to like playing Call of Duty stuff. Well, I guess I did Modern Warfare 2 also. So you want to check out those for more of the basic stuff. I'm going to assume you kind of know how to play Call of Duty, but I'm definitely we're going to try to move a bit forward through these. So I don't have to tell you about every little piece of gameplay, I guess, for the basics. But the other thing is that the hell was the second thing? I need to tell you that. Oh, the other thing was just that this is actually the first Call of Duty game that I've played. Now, for Modern Warfare 2, that was the first one I really got into. Call of Duty 3 was the first one I actually had and played. But basically I got it with the Wii. And it doesn't play super well on the Wii, because if you don't have your if you're not pointing directly in the center of the screen, it's like you're turning and it's a pain in the ass. So what I ended up doing was just not really playing much of it. And then I guess later I've heard it things that it wasn't that great and everything, and I just didn't play it for a long time. But I was curious to see if it was with a regular controller, if it's actually good. But interestingly enough, this actually only came out on consoles. It never came to PC for some reason. That seems really weird, right, for like a main series Call of Duty game. But is it that bad? That's what we're gonna find out, I guess, sort of, or whatever. So let's do that. So Call of Duty 3 is standard Call of Duty fare. It's World War II stuff. Again, you get the idea. Historical war shooter. It's actually, in a lot of ways, when you start off, not that different from Call of Duty 2 in a lot of ways. Plays the same way, same kind of controls and everything, same basic concepts of going in and fighting people, having orders told to you for your missions, and just following different nations as they are doing, the different, participating in different battles and operations and things as part of the war. This has a variety of things here for a lot of similar things, a lot of ground combat, fighting people, one-on-one, or I guess not one-on-one, but fighting people it's on the ground, foot soldier stuff. Sometimes you're out in fields and you're fighting there, trying to dig into trenches. You're fighting throughout city streets. Sometimes you're going through houses and clearing out houses. Sometimes you're pushing forward, or sometimes you're actually retreating and going back and trying to move back, fall back to other positions because you're getting overtaken. There are some vehicle sections where you're riding around in some of those as well. And a few special weapon sections where they, here's a weapon, pick up, do this thing, or whatever. They've also introduced this new thing where you have these QuickTime events, and these happen for either these close quarters, one-on-one things where somebody comes up and jumps you, and you have to do the QuickTime events to fight them off. There's also ones where you're arming explosives, and there's a little QuickTime event thing to go through to do that. And for the single-player campaign, it is mostly going through these missions again, going to the different sides, doing all the battles, and eventually, they do have also the addition of now not only are there times where there's multiple objectives, but there are times when you have branching paths where you can do one of two or three things, and whichever one you do, the battle will progress forwards from there, regardless, rather than just being which do you want to do first. It's actually, what you end up actually doing will be different based on those things, even if the result of doing any one of them will be the same, just it's different way to get there. You do those until you're done. Basically, you do all the missions, and that's, pretty standard stuff. There's also actually the online multiplayer. I was able to actually play it. It does have local multiplayer also, but there's not really bots or anything, so I only like went in there to check a couple of the gameplay modes. But for the online multiplayer, yes, I actually found people online playing to the point where I never had a full game, obviously, because you can have up to like 16 or 24 or something like that, where a bunch of people can be in those matches. But I obviously never had that because there's just not that many people playing at this point. But the fact that I found enough people to play a few matches, anyways, in 2024 now that I'm playing this, especially since I don't know if there's cross-platform or anything on this, that's pretty crazy to me. So I was able to do that. And in multiplayer, there are a few different modes. There's battle is like a free-for-all. Team battle is like a team deathmatch, pretty basic, getting the most kills kind of thing. There's one called war, where they're like these points or these flags. You have to go and stand by the flag to raise it up for your side, and the enemy is trying to fight you off of there, and it's just kind of like a tug of war of like trying to get all the flags captured. Whoever gets all the flags captured wins. Or I guess if time runs out, I think it just goes to whoever was like ahead, I think. And then there's a search and destroy thing. Wait, no, there's not a search and destroy. What am I thinking of? Is there? Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm thinking capture the flag. That's what I'm thinking of. There's capture the flag. There's two of those. There's a capture the flag with one flag where you're just trying to get the flag and get it to the checkpoint. The other team's trying to grab it from you and get it to the other checkpoint. And there's also a capture the flag with two flags where you're trying to grab the flag, from one checkpoint and bring it back to yours without them grabbing your flag in the meantime. And there's that whole thing. And then there's headquarters, which is where there are like these little things of like these little radios will show up, and you have to go in and stand next to the radio. And then you kind of like own that area if you have people next to it, and your score will slowly go up. So you're trying to fight in that contested area to see who can stand by there longer to get their score up. And then after a little amount of time, set amount of time, the radio moves to disappears, moves to another location randomly on the map. You have to go over there and fight for that location. So that's headquarters basically. Whoever has the most points or gets the points, the maximum cap, whatever, to win will win. Another interesting thing about multiplayer that's different here is that in multiplayer, for one thing, you get a sprint because there still wasn't a sprint yet in the main game, but now there's a sprint. There are more items for secondary items you can use, just different kinds of like mines, like explosives and things. They have different secondary equipment for you to use, and they also have these different abilities, because basically you pick a character loadout. There's different classes of characters rather than building building your own loadout or anything. They just have preset ones. So the medic has the ability to revive people that have been downed on the ground or whatever. They have a revive ability. There's a support that has this ammo box they can throw down and give people more ammo. There's just little abilities like that. And so the weapon you have and your weapon, your equipment, and your special ability are depending on the kind of class of character that you are. And the specific weapon you have will differ a bit between the sides of the Axis or the Allies, but they're fairly similar and comparable. They're just not completely the same for those main weapons. So there's a little bit of variety there. But those are the kind of the big additions to keep in mind with multiplayer. And you do rank up, I think, when you're playing and stuff. You get experience or whatever, but I didn't really see much other than a little thing over my name to say anything about that. And also, there's just I couldn't do ranked because nobody was playing the ranked mode, so I can't really speak to how different that is. And I didn't play locally with anybody, so I didn't have anyone to play with, and there's no bots or anything, so I don't really know how well local is for doing stuff either. I did play the online this time, so I could play multiplayer at least. That's the thing I want to impress upon you. And as far as the positives here, there's a lot to like about this. Because I'll admit at first I was kind of this is just Call of Duty 2 again. And I was kind of whatever. But there are some things that are, I think, kind of elevated some. One of the things is that they do kind of have somewhat of a bit of a story. These characters feel more like people that you're with. They have more personality. They're kind of fun with the voice acting, and they have some kind of implied backstory kind of stuff going on. There's a little bit you kind of glean from playing it, and it's oh, this is interesting. I'm kind of invested in these characters, so you kind of care if they live or die, or you kind of get attached to them. This is kind of fun. This is cool. It kind of feels like playing more of a movie kind of thing almost at times. That's neat. I think the skyboxes look pretty good in here. Or I guess, I don't know, just the skies. Maybe they're not skyboxes. Maybe that's maybe that's a little, maybe that's derogatory. I don't mean that. I just whatever. The way they do the skies, like way like lighting effects go like streaming through windows and through clouds and stuff looks really good. So I think that adds a layer of like visual interest, even if a lot of other stuff is kind of like a little still kind of like war torn and drab and stuff because of it's what it probably what it should look like. And I do really like the. I like that there's also like there's a few more weapons to use here, so there's a little more variety and there's less of using vehicles in here. So there's more on the ground stuff, and the on the ground stuff is more fun. It's not like people are throwing a grenade at you every 5 seconds, and definitely there's times when you have to move, and it's cool. Like sometimes you actually you have to like retreat. You don't know what the mission's actually going to be, so you're like kind of on your toes of like. Is this going to go the way it was planned, or is something else going to come up? We're going to have to like ditch and do something else in the heat of the moment. Where do I want to hide over here and do this? Do I want to tackle it this way? Do I want to take these branching paths? Which branching path do I want to take? Which sounds like the thing I want to do. You can do those and so the fighting is definitely a little more dynamic on the ground. The AI is a little bit better about like either like hiding or charging you, or like sometimes they're really on you. Other times they're trying to really just stay dug in and hide, and like it is interesting to like have it, but there's a bit more like depth there as well. So just is more fun. There's more of the stuff that I liked doing for the on the ground stuff, and it's more fun to do it. So I think they did a good job with that, and a few more weapons to like do it with. That definitely all goes to making it a little bit more fun of an experience. And it didn't feel like it dragged on quite as long as Call of Duty 2 did. It feels like it was a bit. I don't know if it actually was shorter, but it definitely didn't feel like it dragged on as long. I mean, like those things all really helped it, I think. And then with the multiplayer, also, I mean, being able to play it was good. But like, I do like the adding the sprint. That was awesome. Having the different classes is interesting. That way you can build different team dynamics of like what's their team composition and what's going to be helpful for doing this, like based on your size of team and what the other team's doing, and what you need to do for your goals and stuff. I do think that did add a cool layer to it, but also like this was simple enough. Or it's like, there aren't like a zillion modes to pick from or anything either. There's a few basic ones, and that makes sense. And you can just get in the lobby and keep doing and switch modes while in a lobby instead of being like, I'm going into the lobby for this kind of game. You can just kind of go in and just be like, I'm in a lobby, and then we just vote on the next thing. Like I think that's a good system to do that. It's like the next what's the next map you want to do, and what's the next this is, or usually it's just like this is the next map that it picked. And it's like what mode do you want to do on it, and people can vote. That's kind of cool. I like that. So definitely a lot of stuff to like there. In terms of just, I think multiplayer is a good balance of like simple stuff to understand and deal with, to actually play and get into it, but enough depth there that you're like, oh, this is actually like there's some cool strategy here. You feel like you're kind of like you have some options of doing different things without it being too granular or too like I need to play this for a zillion hours to level everything up to the maximum or something. It's actually more about just like playing it and having fun with it in your session. I like that. Downsides. Well, one of them is the sprint. Why was this in multiplayer and nowhere else? I mean, even like some of the weapons and stuff you only see in multiplayer. Maybe people drop them and I never pick them up in the main game. That's possible. But like, why is sprinting a thing that you can't do in the main game? Why did they think that being able to run quickly to another spot? Why was that a bad thing? Why was that like nah, we don't need that unless you're online? I don't know. That's a really bizarre choice. I will admit that like a lot of stuff still again visually it looks a little better, but not a lot better than 2. It looks music is like it's fine, but it can be a little forgettable at times. I think that the like I don't know, like the way it plays and stuff. A lot of it still just comes off as like a slight tweak of Call of Duty 2, but not quite enough to make it like that much different. So you kind of feel like you're just playing that again. Just a little bit better. And there's still like weird audio issues as well. I mean, the sound design is still decent. It's still, it's not like it's good. It's not like notably better than the previous game, but like there are a few weird times when like some of the dialogue was happening and it was like people were like the sound for their voice was coming from not the direction where I was when I was facing. Like they should have been in one ear, but they were in the other. Weird stuff like that kind of cropped up in some spots. And it doesn't have any cool, like, really cool, super scenic, like, set piece things to like, go through that really were memorable. Like, Call of Duty 2 had, like, running through, like, the pipe or whatever, and it was people shooting up through there and trying to get you and stuff. That was really cool. But in this one, it's like, I don't know, like, There were people on the hills and people in streets and buildings, and there were bunkers. And, like, a lot of stuff kind of blends together. Of, like, I don't know, it was just kind of all there. Even like the opening battle thing, sort of, because I remember playing on Wii, I guess. It's like, oh, there's a lot of people like on the ground and up in building windows and stuff. So I kind of remember that, but also it wasn't like I don't remember it like being good. I just remember it because that was like the first thing in the game. um, and while there are fewer vehicle sections, which I like they like tone those down. There are like a lot of Jeep sections for some reason, and they're also like annoying because a lot of times they have you driving the fucking Jeep, and they have the computer is like, all right, we're gonna sit here. I'm gonna have a gun. I'm gonna shoot out the side. I'm gonna be on the turret thing, and you drive. And it's like, okay, I guess I'll just drive and like just go down the path that you tell me to go down, try to avoid things while you have the fun part. Thanks. That's kind of annoying. So there's also even the beginning. They don't really do a good job of like Call of Duty 2. Like, all right, here's how you play. There's like a very short thing of like all right, here, pick up a gun, shoot a couple things, throw a grenade, you're good, right? And then, like, that's it. And they don't really do much else with it. And so I don't think they do as good of a job of like getting you ready to play it. There's like, yeah, you'll figure it out. Like, they just kind of throw you in. And it's like, fine if you played other Call of Duty games, especially at this point going back, a lot of shooters play like this anyways, you could figure it out, but it's still weird. Although they do have it where now, usually if you hit people, you do kill them with one hit. I think that started here. I don't think I ever went up to somebody and like meleeed them and they didn't die. I don't think so. There's that at least, I guess. But yeah, it just feels like the whole thing where it's like, I feel like they kind of knew like this is just another Call of Duty. We're just doing it again. It's a lot like the other one, and it's only on console. I don't know. And then they had also the quick time events are dumb. I don't like them. They don't add anything to the gameplay really. If you just had like a button press to do these things, it would have been fine. When somebody's right up in your face, it's probably more satisfying to actually just hit a melee button and kill them that way, or try to shoot them when they're point blank, than it is to do like a weird scuffle with them, with hitting weird things in a cinematic. Like, oh yeah, hit the triggers really quick, and then hit this button and then you can hit them, and like, I don't know, it's dumb. It's cinematic in a way that doesn't like, it takes the agency away from you more, and it just doesn't feel good. So it's like, that was dumb. And also the other thing with that is they like the bomb planting too. They have that thing where you have to do all that, whatever. That's dumb. You should just have to hit a button, plant the bomb there, I guess, or just have like hold the button and have your character be planting it, and you have to survive there, because that's where the tension is like, am I going to survive, or somebody could come up and shoot me while I'm like planting it. It definitely feels like these weren't kind of made for like the functions of like the PlayStation 3's 6-axis controller and the Wii remote nunchuck thing to do different like motions with those. So it made it feel like there was a reason that you would use, want to play on those platforms. Here you just do button things on this. It's probably the least fun version of doing those, but also I don't think they should have added it in any of them, basically. So Call of Duty 3 is basically, it's like Call of Duty 2 Deluxe or Plus or whatever. I think that it is better than Call of Duty 2 slightly, but it's not enough for like, I don't think it justified itself, really. I mean, I think that basically this is good for like, if you're looking to go back to an older Call of Duty game. I think that if you're looking especially between 2 and 3, I think that you want to go with 3 if you can. Obviously, if you only have like PC, you're probably going to be stuck with 2. And then that's fine. That's still pretty close. That's still good. They're both about the same level of good. This is just very slightly, I liked it more. And that might even be just me. I'd like to hear in the comments what you guys think of, Call of Duty 2 versus 3 and how they line up and which version you played and all that stuff would be interesting to hear. And if anybody went through the entire slog of playing the whole Wii version, I can't imagine I want to do that, but I might check out one sometime, I guess. I don't know yet. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those where it's fine. It's not the kind of thing I would probably play again. I think it's worth, if you want to play it, if you can get it for like $5-10, it's a fun time. We may play it again after years of not playing it again, that kind of thing. Revisit it, be like, oh, it's just still cool. But the online scene isn't, at least it works. It's not super active, but at least it works for now, so that's cool. We're seeing the sprint be a thing sort of in here to some extent, and like there's some cool ideas here, for sure. So I don't know. This is just it's Call of Duty 2 again. So I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. And as far as other like reviews and stuff too, I believe the next one then should be Call of Duty 4, which if memory serves, that's quite a leap from this. So that'll be fun to look at. I mean, like I said, I'm also considering maybe getting something for like Wii or Wii U to see what Call of Duty is like on those systems, and also maybe one of them on the DS. I'll see. I'll see. I'm interested. I also got Call of Duty Mobile on my phone recently, so I'm going to check that out. So basically, I'm still having fun going through Call of Duty games right now, is what I'm trying to tell you. And maybe that'll be different as I get into newer ones that are bigger and they have more things to do. Maybe that'll change a bit. I don't know. But yeah, that was my review for Call of Duty 3. And like I said, yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this. If you're still interested in hearing somebody blab about Call of Duty games from however many freaking years ago, is this interesting? I feel like these have been talked about a lot, so I don't know if it's refreshing to hear somebody who hasn't played them yet, or just to hear about them again because no one's talking about them because everyone's like, I hate Call of Duty, or they're just all in the newest Call of Duty. I don't know. I don't know if this is interesting or good, but some of the views have been nice, so maybe you guys like it, and I've been having fun. So that's either way, like I win. Right? I guess. Unless I lose. I did play in the easiest settings, so that also probably factors into. I did still die though. There's still times when like you'll still die in here if you go in the wrong way, and they're like, oh no, there's a big ass machine gun thing that's shooting at me. It's like artillery shit or whatever. Not artillery, whatever. The big machine gun thing. They're so rough that like if you go the wrong way, I'm like, do I go this way? I don't know what's going on, and they just shoot you, and you literally get like pushed away, and you're like, oh, well, I'm dead, and you will die. So, you can die. It's not just that I suck, it's also that.